Okay, so let's talk about Sage accounts today. Now, before we get started, just to be clear, this isn't me doing a kind of Sage hating kind of video. Let's be clear that certain solutions are right for certain businesses and certain solutions aren't. Likewise, with any solution, like simply using Microsoft Windows is right for many businesses. We all know there's businesses out there which will tell you all day long you should be using a Mac or Linux. So just to be clear on that, the context of this video is driven from our own personal business experience with Sage accounts and also the experience of our customers. So that's where the driver is coming from. It's not just me deciding, oh, I don't really like Sage accounts, let's blah on about. That's not the case, just to be clear. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there using Sage accounts and really love it, and it's perfect for their business. Okay, but let's just get started with our own thoughts on it. So yeah, historically, a very long time ago, we used to use Sage accounts ourselves. It was just when the business first got set up, it was a recommendation from our accountants at the time who said, here's what you need to use for your day-to-day stuff. So obviously you listen to these people and you just use it. My first thoughts on it, getting started with it at that time, and I appreciate things might have changed a bit now, but at that time, it was clearly written for accountants. It was no use for me as a business owner trying to pull off a top level report or a dashboard of exactly where my P&L is there and then on any given day. I couldn't do any of them things. I had to, create reports and do my own journaling, things I haven't got a clue about and things I don't particularly want to learn. I just need data presented to me there and then at any given time. So from that perspective, I wasn't impressed with that side of stuff, but our accountant said it makes their life easy, so we used it. The second issue with it was the amount of admin we had to throw at it just to maintain it, just to maintain the data, just to get our transactions into the product, just to produce invoices, to manage all your usual basic day-to-day accountancy tasks was very, very labour intensive. So much so, when I really dug into it, found out we were spending about 20 hours a month just to maintain Sage accounts, whereas fast forward now to where we are with the cloud-based product we now use, it's less than 2 hours a month. So instant time saving by switching product, which I'll come back to shortly. But yeah, there was a big admin saving to be had because I found Sage accounts to be very, very kind of labour intensive. So us ourselves, we switched to a cloud-based accountancy piece of software a number of years ago again, because we just thought things can be easier. And sure enough, as I just touched on, we instantly reduced the amount of time and labour purely down to because the new accounting software had something called bank feeds where it just pulls in data directly from our banks every day, puts it all into the account system for us, ready to rock. So I didn't need somebody to be entering that data. It just appears on its own. That in itself saved about 20 hours. Also, going back to the first thing I said, me as a business owner, I just want to see a top level overview of the financial performance of the business. Where are we at? What do we owe? What's coming in? What's my P&L looking like on any given day? I need that available to me. I'm sure everybody else does this out there. Every other business owner, you're checking this literally every other day because, it's important. So he gave me that instantly. Lovely dashboard all the time. Right, there's where we're at. There's my next big tax milestone. There's what I need to put to one side for making a payment for that. Oh, I owe that supplier that much. These customers owe me this much. Right, let's get onto them. Gives me all that instantly. One lovely dashboard, nice and easy. So that was a big thing for us. And so that was the main reasons that we switched away from Sage accounts. Now, a lot of our customers are still using Sage accounts, which is fine. If it's right for their business, that's okay. Like I said, this isn't a pure hating thing. This is more talking about real world experience of the products here. So, but one frustration I found on behalf of our customers is that there's a lot of our customers out there will use a product called Microsoft Windows Server, and it will be an Essentials edition, which is aimed at small to medium-sized businesses. Now, I don't want to get into the debate today of, Should people still use an on-site server? Should it be something else? That's a debate for another day. All I'm talking about is what they have in place right here and now today. So a lot of them are using Windows Server Essentials, which is great for SMEs because it covers you for up to 25 users. All your licenses is included. It's great. But the newer versions of Sage are incompatible with that version of server. So if you have your Sage data on your server to share amongst your team, that's great until you upgrade to the latest version and it stops working and you can't access it anymore, which seems absolutely ridiculous to me. But that's the number one bugbear. We literally had this yesterday. A customer said, oh, we've just been told by Sage we have to upgrade to the newest version to get support from them, which is fine. And they should always look to use the latest version. I don't have a problem there. It's good to keep up to date, and it's good for them to have the Sage support for the specialist things they need support with Sage. But then if they can't actually use the product anymore, that's just ridiculous. So the options there are, the realistic options are stick with the old version, which you shouldn't. You should always go for the newest version. I do stand by that. You've got to keep up to date, keep secure more than anything by keeping up to date. I've talked about it in many other videos. You could look at moving your Sage database to a new server. And what I mean by that is you could actually use a fancy, well-specified Windows 10 desktop computer and host your Sage data on that and set it up on there. You will need a full backup. It will need to be carefully planned, but it is completely doable. The other option would be a completely new server, very expensive to do, probably overkill just for Sage, unless you've got a business where 50 people are using Sage and you have 50 employees, then realistically, perhaps that is an option. But for a lot of businesses, that won't be, because of the expense they would need to go to have that in place. Other options would be to simply look to see if you can actually drop Sage, which I know people go, not use Sage anymore. I mean, that's what we did, and it wasn't actually that painful. We timed it around our financial year end. So we just said, right, finish the financial year, keep Sage to one side for now to refer back to the data. And then anything new going forward is in our new cloud-based system. And that's what we did. And we did have to refer back to Sage for a number of months. But before long, we literally had forgotten about it and we're only in the cloud-based system. If you plan it carefully and commit to it, it's not that bad. So you could actually look at an alternative cloud-based product. One big advantage of a cloud-based product is there's no software to install on your computer, which can be a real bugbear of mine with Sage. And going back to what I just talked about, that it's not compatible with certain systems and certain networks, you get away from that because you only need a web browser to access your account system. You can access it from anywhere. It's all centrally backed up. It's all secure, certainly as secure as it can be. There's always a potential vulnerability here. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say you'll never have an issue, but these companies invest a lot of money in security, so they do all that kind of stuff for you. So maybe it is a consideration to look at moving away from Sage if you're getting stuck in this little bit of a rut like we saw with our particular customer on this occasion. So just give that some thought. Can you move away from Sage? Can you put Sage somewhere else? Just consider your options there. But yeah, if you're trying to get Sage working on Windows Server Essentials, you're not going to get it working. You need to come up with something else is what I'm saying. Okay, so that's it for today. If this video has been useful in any way, shape, or form, please do smash the like button. It really helps with the old YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe to our channel. We're pushing out a couple of videos a week. So please feel free to do that. And below is all of our links to our other social media feeds like Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I'll see you next time.